The purpose of this video is to play a little with the Ubuntu desktop and Unity, especially tools to manage a user account. I really encourage you to watch the videos that describe how to do that with a basic GNOME desktop. This video is going to assume that you already watched this and you are familiar with the previous tools. What we're going to do here is we're going to actually use a very simplified version of the tools you've already seen in the previous videos. So the first question is, how do I access the user account management tool? You have different possibilities. One is system settings. Okay, so you open the system settings panel here, and there we go. User accounts is right here. So double click, you will open your user account management interface. Very simplified interface again, if you watch the previous videos. Okay. Before I start playing with it and showing you the different action you can perform here, let's close it and let's finish going over the different ways you can access your user account management tool. The second way you can access it is by clicking here on your username. In your user menu, you're going to have the last option being user accounts. Guess what? You select this, you get the same tool. Last but not least, if you go to the dash, you're going to find in your home recent application, and you can also find it, by looking at recently used in the application tab, or just looking at the available installed application, looking for the system tools. Okay, so there are at least three different ways for you, and I'm sure there are more. Command line would be one to run this interface, to start this interface. So now that we are in there, this is my default user. Okay, Tux. Tux is actually an administrator user. Okay, this is the first user I created when I installed my Ubuntu distribution. So by default, it's going to be an administrator. Administrator means pretty much that it is added to a file /etc/sudoers. And this file, Tux being added to that file, means that I can use the sudo, sudo, and gksudo commands to actually run temporarily applications with administrator privilege. So I'm not an administrator per se. Okay, it's not like being the root user. You all know that Ubuntu doesn't actually allow you easily to log in as a root user, which is done for a security reason. But I am pretty much the equivalent of an administrator. I can temporarily use sudo to escalate my privileges. So I can go here and change the name of my user. I can change the icon representing my user. I can do all of this because I'm logged in as Tux right now. If I was logged in as another regular standard user on the system, I could still probably do a little bit of things here on my account, such as changing the language, preferred language for this account, changing the password, okay, and things of this nature. So it's really user friendly, nothing much to say there, but you will notice that there's not much I can do. Okay, these are really basic operations. Automatic login, if I try to click on it, nothing happens. If I go to the list of accounts on the system, try to add one, try to remove one, I'm clicking here on the plus minus icon, nothing is working. Well, this is because before to do any of those operations, you need to unlock the user accounts interface. So you click on this unlock button here top right, you enter your user password, and suddenly there you go. You can activate the automatic login. So automatic login is a nice Windows-like, between quotes, feature, which allows you to not have to go through the JDM, it's called the GDM, GNOME Desktop Manager logging screen every time you power up your system, or your system is locked after a predetermined time, or you dehibernate a system, etc. All of those situations are going to cause you to have to re-log in. Okay, and this is okay. This is secure. Actually, this is the way it should be done. Okay, even on system where people don't have to relog in, every time the system has been unused for 5 minutes, there are screensavers that do that for you. So it's security-wise, it's interesting. When you are just playing with a temporary virtual machine that you just installed for testing, a few things, and we are going to wipe it out the next day, and your password anyway is password, for example, or something trivial that is absolutely not secure, then you might want to consider doing the automatic login. As soon as you power up the machine, it will log in using this account, and you'll be able to work. If you leave the machine unattended for a few minutes, it's not going to log, and so on and so forth. So it's really more of a convenience, but it's a security hazard. So I'm going to disable this for now. Back to the column on the left, what's new? I can now add an account. You see the plus is highlighted differently. I can remove accounts. So I'm not going to destroy the accounts I'm logged in as. That would be weird. I'm going to create another account. I'm going to create another account for Mr. Evil Tux. You have a choice here between making it a standard account and an administrator account. You know what that means now. I'm going to go for a standard account. Okay, and to come back on this choice between administrator and standard, when you are managing your own account here, once you unlock the interface, you see that you can revert back from administrator to standard. I wouldn't do that here because that would kind of like put me in a situation where I do not have any privilege anymore to do anything as root on my system, so we'll definitely not be doing that. If I wanted to play with removing the administrator status on an account, I would just create another account. Admin Tux, for example, but it originally as administrator, then go into the option and revert it back to standard. So creating accounts, even if you are the only person really using your virtual machine or your Unix desktop, Linux desktop, creating an account is a good way to have a temporary place where you can do things that are going to potentially break your account. And then when you're done, you just wipe the account and you didn't destabilize your entire system. Okay, so it's really a good idea to not do everyday tasks on an administrator account, even though, as I mentioned sooner, as long as you don't do sudo, you are pretty much protected with Ubuntu. But it's a good idea to have like accounts, to do specific tasks sometimes. Like surfing the web would be on a hobby, relax account, and then you would have an account to do your budget and things like that. So it's not a bad thing to do, and it's something that most Windows users do not do naturally. Okay, they don't have this idea that that you can create accounts for tasks. Generally, the Windows family of operating system encourages you to think more in terms of you create one account per user. What else? Well, we are here playing with Evil Tux. Okay, you can see that I can once again edit everything here. Can remove an account. I'll play with that when I'm done, showing a few other things about the new account. That would be just selecting the account and then clicking the minus icon here. Now that we have a new account, it might be interesting to actually play with it. So Ubuntu makes it really easy. Okay, you go to your user menu here, and now you see that there is a new entry for this new account. So if I click on it, I am going to be redirected to the GNOME Desktop Manager. Logging. You can see now that you have multiple users. Tux is already logged in. Okay, so all the applications that were open in the background on my Unity desktop are still there. I didn't completely log out. I didn't close everything. If I choose to retype my password here, which I'm going to do right now just to show you, there we go. I'm back, with everything that was open here. Firefox and Terminal is open. Nothing changed. All right. Now, Tux is going to be open in the background. If I go back to the login for Evil Tux, I'm going to enter the password, which now that I think of it, I do not think I set the password. So let me go back. Oops. Let me go back to Tux. Let me reopen actually my user accounts tool. And yes, we still have an account disabled here. So let me unlock this. Alright, by default the new account that you create is disabled. You click on that account disabled button here pretty much, and you have several options. Okay, login without a password, so you make this account pretty much go through without any security. Enable this account would just be enabling the account if you temporarily disabled it previously, but right now we need to start by setting a password. So I'm going to enter a silly password here, nothing fancy. You will notice that as long as the password is at least not, at weak or better, I cannot change. So for example, if I see the passwords are not matching, I cannot change. If I just remove the last three letters from this one too, I can still change. If I remove too many letters, now my password is too short, I cannot set that as a password. So there are ways to actually enforce quality standards for password. It's definitely beyond the scope of what this interface allows us to do. Okay, you have here some option. Okay, you have some pre-suggested password here that you can just adopt on the fly, and apparently you can even generate more. Just I don't know why somebody would want to do that, but okay. So once you have your password, change. There we go. Our account is now enabled, and we have a password, a sound password set to it. So let's close. Again, let's go back to our login screen. And now we can enter our password. And we have a fresh Unity desktop. You can see that some of the icons that I removed from my from the user that I'm actually using all the time during those videos and during the work on this class, I've been removing some of the icons I don't use very often. We can do everything we want to this desktop. We can open application, then we can just as easily as before switch back and forth between Evil Tux and Tux. So this is my Tux desktop, and I can go back here, and this is my Evil Tux desktop. Okay, once you're done, logging out completely from this user session is going to be achieved with a logout. So don't do a shutdown, because that will shut down the entire machine, obviously, and everybody logged into it, all the sessions that are active. Evil Tux doesn't have an active session anymore, but my session for Tux is still there, so I can go back. And I can finally go to the dash menu, user accounts, and I can finally show you how to remove an account. Simply select it, use the minus icon after you unlock, obviously, the UI. There we go. And then you are going to have several options. Okay, you are going to have an option that allows you to actually keep the files. It's really useful. For example, you have a user account for an employee on a corporate system. You are going to most likely want to delete the account when they're done working for you, but keep their file just in case in 6 months somebody says, well, John Smith was working on a project for us, he never sent out, etc. He never sent out the latest report he was supposed to produce. Can we take a look at the accounts, to see if it was in a draft form stored in his account? Well, that's where you would do it. Okay. For us, I didn't store anything interesting at all in this account, so I have absolutely no problem deleting the files. So this is the option that we will take, and there we go. Our user settings have been appropriately modified. Now EvilTux is no longer there on this list of user account, and this is pretty much the overview of everything you can achieve with this new Unity user account system tool.